What if we use the factory Fender flares? And then just cut out that little extra right there. I'm going to show you how I did it in case you want it to look like that. Alright, so here's how we did it. You guys can see the metal right there. That's what we cut out. So we cut this out because the wheel tucks in and articulates back up into there. And then we just followed that body line all the way up and over, giving us this big chunk of metal. Pretty self-explanatory. It's just a body line. Just follow it, cut it. But then you guys can also see the Fender flare outline there. And that gives us that big chunk of metal. Gives us that big chunk of metal that we can bolt the old one to. And it'll come down right here and stop, and then we'll have this big opening right here. And you can see my old Fender, it was just all buckled in and broken to crap. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how and what I did to mount the Fender flare. We're going to need some clamps to hold it on. Here's the old factory Fender flare, you guys can see. It's already been cut up here to match with our bumper. So all we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and mount it up here. Use our old body lines and stuff. We've already cut. There's plenty of videos out there showing you guys what you guys can do to cut the panels off. So I already did that. And then what I'm trying to do now, or what I'm doing now, is I'm just using those little clamps to kind of get me in place of where I want my front fender flare to match. That matches there. Bring it back on the body panel a little bit. Kind of line it up over here as well. And there's a lot of meat inside there, so you got plenty of room to reach up and pinch. And if you need to, you can adjust, do whatever you need. Yeah, there we go. And you got room inside here. You got room up in here. If you just follow that body line, it's very straightforward, very easy. And I use my inner fender bracket. It's still in there. And I'm going to show you guys, all I do is just bolt this back to that little bracket there. So I want these 2 points to be nice and tight, because that's what we're going to go off of, is this point here, this point up here. So those 2 points nice and tight. And then after that, I just find some good meat, pinch those on as well. Keep this on nice and tight so it doesn't shift, nothing shifts. And boom, I now have my fender here, and all I want to do now is cut this straight. So I made a little template that the fender will fit into, and boom, I can hold this flat, straight. Use a marker, draw my line. There's probably enough dirt there that I could probably just draw the line in the dirt. And then we're just going to cut that fender straight. You could do this as well. If you don't, get her all clean. Tape her off. Take it off so you kind of have a general idea of where you're going to make this cut at. Just like that. Use that body line, staying straight with that body line in your template. And as simple as just, if I'm straight with this body line, I can draw my line over here. I'm going to go just a little lower than that body line because this marker is going to be a little taller. And we're just going to go like that. After we're going to cut to match it on the other side. Alright, so then you're going to pull your clamps back off. There's going to be a lot of clamps on and off, on and off. Pull your clamps back off. Cut from that body line straight across over onto that, and we're good to go. All I have is a little cutting disc. What I'm going to do is start at the corner. And here we go. Just work our way up. Always use your safety glasses. up at an angle. All right. And just like that, our Fender's all good to go. I'm going to change out this and clean up our extra crap right here. Clean this all up, and we'll mount this. All right, so next thing I'm going to do before I mount this back up there is I want to make sure this is going to be all right. If I need to cut more off my Fender flare, we'll cut more off the Fender flare, but oh, that's going to look about where I want it at. And yeah, perfect. It's going to come up, we're going to have that gap there, we're going to stretch that out to there, and we're going to have that out to there. Boom, perfect. Okay, now that I've matched everything up, I've looked at what I wanted, everything looks good. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to drill a few holes. I'm going to mark some holes here, drill a few holes, and then we'll transfer those holes through the back onto our plastic, and I'll show you how to do that. So when marking your holes, I like to try to get mine a little bit, I don't know, about an inch and a half up off of here. But the back one back here, you're going to need to kind of get down along here to help when you go to put that screw in the back to suck that up into there really tight. You guys can see the body line or the fender line right here. You have plenty of meat. The other problem you're going to have though is the flare does taper down like this. So it does have a taper to it. So your meat is kind of up here on the top, and you could actually get a screw to come through the back of here. So that's why I pre-drill my holes. I kind of get the angle of where I want my screws at. And I know I'm going to need this one really tight, I'm going to need this one really tight, and then from here on out it's just going to be tight. So I'm going to put a screw probably, or a hole, probably right about here. And all this is just a guesstimate because I know that Fender flare has a lot of meat right there, and I know I need to tighten it up right here. You can also see that I have a lot of meat right here. So we're going to put another hole right about there. I know I need another one right about here-ish. Another one right about here. There's a lot of meat on the back of that fender. You guys can see there's a lot of meat back up inside here on that fender right there. And then this one here is a real pain to try to get. There is not a lot of meat, but you do want that nice and tight to hold that flare out there in that spot. If you need to, or what I would probably suggest doing is get it kind of more in that that seam right there in the body. All right, I'm going to go ahead and drill these and show you guys what it looks like, finished product. So now we got our holes drilled. Got one here, 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 and here. We've got 5 of them. We could also use this bolt here, which is going to pinch the flare, or pinch the fender with the flare. So we're going to put our fender flare back up here. Again, it's a lot of take down, put up, take down, put up type thing, but it is what it is. Work with it, it'll be just fine. Start with my back fender, flare, get it where I want it. Boom, okay. Now I know that next one is going to be right around here somewhere, so I'm going to go a little bit beyond it, and the other one's going to be right about here. This one here is going to be there. So I want something down kind of low. I'm putting it right there. You guys can kind of see that. And the last clamp, I'll put right about here. And the reason for that is that way it holds for these two. I got this one and these two here. And then take your drill bit. Now I'm using a 3/32 drill bit. And all I'm doing is going backwards through that hole to mark on my fender flares a little dot, and just pushing that bit into the hole, of course. Now I got those marks on the back. We can do one of two things. You guys can either take this off, pre-drill those holes, or you guys can just sink these into the plastic. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and sink them in. The other side, I pulled this off and then I pre-drilled the holes, And for the most part, I got into majority of the holes. This one here, I ended up coming up about right here, and I could start to see it bubble out a little bit, and I just stopped. So you're gonna just get into the plastic wherever it just goes. All I got is a 1/4 inch drill bit. If you guys had like a little 90-degree drive, it'd be a lot easier. But this way I can kind of feel too when it's biting and when to stop. So go ahead and I'll start right up here in the front so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm finding the hole with the tip of the screw. Just pushing it in. Once it gets a little bit of a bite to go through the metal, yeah, just let her rip. Let her rip, tater chip. And I watch the outside here because this is kind of what I want to see. Is if this starts to get any kind of a deformity, anything like that, I can back the screw off, find another screw. Right up against the, I want to see that fender flare, tighten up against that fender. That's what I want to see, but I want to also make sure that I don't get that screw to pop through there or poke through there. If I start to feel or see any kind of deformity, I'm going to stop. I'm going to reevaluate if I can get that screw to go a different direction. Oh, that's nice and tight. And see, I can feel my socket down here tightening up on that, so I know I can stop. I don't need to keep going any tighter. Very nice, very simple, very easy. Just take the tip of the screw, find your hole, put the tip in the hole. Oh. All right, there we go. Right, so we got all the bolts up in the fender here. Everything's good to go. Got one here, got one down here. Now if you reach back up inside here, not behind in the fender, you can feel the bolt heads in there. You can feel the screw through there, but this thing is on there really well, very tight. We did tighten it right up against there, and it is very tight, as you guys can see. No gap, no nothing. This thing's gonna work out great. I like the look of it. It gets me a little more tire space back in here. Now, yeah, I know this is still gonna articulate and can come up and hit here, but it's gonna get some flex to it before it does anything. And I've also noticed that all my damage seems to be done right back in here. So it is what it is. We're just gonna run it the way it is. I love the look of it. More than anything, it looks more factory than just than not. There you go. If you like what you watch, give me a like, subscribe. Thanks for shooting the breeze with me, guys. We'll see you next time.